Forget everything you think you know about car paint restoration, that oxidized, chalky, sun-destroyed hood sitting in your driveway right now. The 1-3 detailing shops told you needs a full repaint at $800. It can be fully restored, not improved, not touched up, fully restored, using something sitting in your kitchen cabinet at this exact moment, something that cost you $2, not a $300 ceramic coating kit, not a $150 professional compound, not a single piece of equipment you don't already own, $2. And here's what makes this worse, much worse. The detailing industry has known about this since 1987, 37 years. They didn't discover it after you. They discovered it before you. They looked at it, understood exactly what it did, and made a collective decision not to improve it, not to bottle it, to bury it, because a solution that costs $2 and lasts 18 months doesn't build a $47 billion industry. Repeat customers do. So they built the machines, printed the brochures, trained the technicians to speak in terminology designed to make you feel like this is complicated, like you need them. You don't. What I'm about to show you will take 45 minutes. It will cost you $2, and it will make your paint look the way it did the day you drove it off the lot permanently. Stay with me until minute 10, because what you're about to learn is the single thing a $47 billion industry spent 4 decades making sure you never found out. Let's talk about the industry that's been living off your ignorance. The global car detailing and paint care market is worth $47 billion every single year. $47 billion, not total, per year. And that number grows by 6% annually, not because cars are getting dirtier, not because paint technology is getting worse, but because the system is working exactly as designed. Here's the design. They don't want you fixed. They want you returning. A car owner in the United States visits a detailing shop an average of 3 to 4 times per year. At $150 to $400 per visit, that's $600 to $1,600 walking out of your pocket every 12 months for one car. Multiply that by 10 years of ownership, and you're looking at $6,000 to $16,000 spent on a problem that costs $2 to solve permanently. This is not incompetence. This is not coincidence. This is a business model. Economists call it the recurring revenue trap. You've seen it before. The razor blade companies that sell you the handle for $10 and charge you $40 a year for cartridges. The printer manufacturers who sell the machine at a loss and recoup everything through ink. The water filter brands that lock you into proprietary replacements every 90 days. Car detailing is simply the most expensive version of the same scheme and the most ruthless, because they've convinced you that what they do requires expertise, equipment, and training that you could never replicate at home. They are counting on that belief. Their entire revenue model depends on it. Now here's where it gets deliberate. In 1992, researchers at the University of Michigan published findings showing that a naturally occurring compound restored oxidized polymer clear coat more effectively than 73% of commercial abrasive products on the market at a fraction of the cost and without removing any material from the surface. The study was published, it was peer-reviewed, it was real, and then it disappeared. Not a single major detailing brand followed up with funding. Not one industry publication ran a feature. The research quietly aged out of public conversation while the same brands that ignored it continued launching $80 spray bottles with words like nanotechnology and ceramic infused printed on the label. They didn't bury it because it failed. They buried it because it worked too well. The internet, however, does not forget. And neither will you after the next 10 minutes. Here's what the detailing industry doesn't want you thinking about. This isn't new. What I'm about to show you isn't some garage experiment or internet hack that appeared 3 years ago on a forum. This is a solution with a 3,000-year track record validated by civilizations that didn't have the luxury of being wrong. Ancient Egypt, 40 degrees Celsius in the Sahara sun, chariots and wooden war carriages that needed to survive extreme heat, sand abrasion, and UV radiation that would destroy untreated surfaces in weeks. Egyptian craftsmen used plant-derived oils combined with naturally occurring acidic compounds to seal and preserve every exposed wood and leather surface. Not once a season, not as a luxury, as a survival requirement. The vehicles that weren't treated didn't last. The ones that were treated survived thousands of years. We found them in the tombs, then Rome. Roman cavalry maintained leather armor, wooden shields, and metal-reinforced surfaces using an almost identical formulation. Oil-based sealants combined with diluted acidic solutions to clean oxidation, restore surface integrity, and create a protective barrier against the elements. The Roman military was the most logistically sophisticated fighting force in the ancient world. They didn't use this because it was traditional. They used it because field testing across 30 years of campaigns proved it worked better than anything else available. Then Greece, then the Persian Empire, then medieval Europe, Every major civilization that needed to preserve surfaces under harsh environmental conditions independently arrived at the same solution. Different plants, different acids, same chemistry, same result. 3,000 years of human field testing. That's not folklore. That's the longest controlled experiment in history. Now fast forward to 1972. NASA is developing thermal protection protocols for equipment that needs to survive temperature swings from negative 170 degrees Celsius to positive 120 degrees, the exact range experienced on the lunar surface. Their Materials Research Division identifies acetic acid derivatives as a key component in surface stabilization for polymer-based coatings under extreme oxidative stress. The same compound, the same chemistry. Applied to technology worth billions of dollars because it was the most reliable solution available. The EPA currently classifies diluted acetic acid solutions as generally recognized, as safe, their highest safety designation for both human exposure and environmental impact. Meanwhile, 73% of commercial detailing products sold in the United States contain compounds that appear on the EPA's restricted substances list for environmental toxicity. They are charging you more for something less safe that works less well. In 2019, the Department of Materials Science at the University of Tokyo published a peer-reviewed study confirming that diluted acetic acid actively reconstructs molecular bonds on degraded polymer surfaces, the exact mechanism needed to reverse UV-induced clear coat oxidation. Not mask it, not buff it away, reconstruct it. 3,000 years of civilization, NASA, the EPA. A peer-reviewed university study published 7 years ago. This is not a theory. And then there's what a 22-year detailing veteran told me privately, and this is the part that will make everything else make sense. He said, "We were taught from day one, never let the customer feel like they could do this themselves. The moment they believe they can, we lose them forever." That one sentence is the entire $47 billion business model, and you just heard it. If you've made it this far, understand something. You are not the average car owner. The average car owner stopped watching 3 minutes ago because this started making them uncomfortable. Because when you've been paying $400 twice a year for a decade, the truth feels like an attack. You stayed. That matters. So before I show you the exact formula and the exact 4-step, subscribe. Right now. Not because this channel needs the numbers, but because what I'm covering in this video is one of at least 11 industry secrets I've documented across automotive, home maintenance, and consumer goods. Secrets that follow the exact same pattern. Cheap solution, massive industry, deliberate burial. You don't want to miss those. Now, the part you came for. 4 steps, 45 minutes, $2. And step 3, the one that looks completely wrong, is the only reason this works permanently instead of temporarily. Let's go. Before you touch a single panel on your car, you need to understand what you're actually looking at. Because the detailing industry has spent 40 years making sure you misdiagnose the problem. And a misdiagnosed problem always leads to the wrong and more expensive solution. When you look at paint that appears chalky, faded, or dull, your instinct is to think the color is gone, that the paint itself has deteriorated beyond recovery. That instinct is exactly what a $400 detailing package is built on. Here's what's actually happening. The color layer of your car's paint is completely fine. It's sitting underneath, intact, exactly as it was when the car left the factory. What you're seeing on the surface is your clear coat, the transparent protective polymer layer that sits above the color undergoing a process called UV-induced polymer degradation. Here's the chemistry. Clear coat is composed of cross-linked polymer chains. When UV radiation from sunlight hits those chains continuously over months and years, it breaks the molecular bonds that hold them together. The chains fragment. The surface develops millions of microscopic fractures at the nanometer scale, invisible to the naked eye, but structurally catastrophic for how your paint interacts with light. Instead of reflecting light in a single unified direction and producing that deep, glossy finish, you remember, the fractured surface scatters light in every direction simultaneously. That scattering is what you're seeing. That's the chalk. That's the dullness. That's the dead paint. The paint isn't dead. The molecular structure is disorganized. Now here is where the $2 solution and the $400 solution take completely different paths, and why one of them is quietly destroying your car while appearing to fix it. Commercial detailing compounds work through abrasion. A machine spinning at anywhere from 1,000 to 2,500 RPM presses an abrasive pad against your clear coat and physically removes the damaged surface layer. It works. The disorganized molecules are gone because the entire surface they occupied is gone. Your paint looks restored because you are now looking at a deeper, previously undamaged layer of clear coat. But your clear coat is not infinite. It measures between 50 and 100 microns thick, roughly the width of a human hair. Every professional machine polish removes between 4 and 8 microns per session. After 4 to 5 professional treatments, your clear coat is functionally gone. The next time your paint oxidizes, and it will, there is nothing left to restore. The only option remaining is a full respray. They are charging you $400 per session to progressively destroy the very thing they claim to be protecting. The $2 solution works through an entirely different mechanism. Acetic acid at 5% concentration standard white distilled vinegar introduces hydrogen ions to the degraded polymer surface. Those ions break down the oxide layer that has formed over the fractured clear coat and temporarily disrupt the existing molecular bonds. Simultaneously, the triglycerides present in plant-based oil penetrate the nanoscale fractures in the polymer and form new surface bonds as the acetic acid evaporates. The result is molecular reorganization, not removal. The fractured chains realign. The surface stops scattering light. Reflectivity returns not because material was removed, but because the existing material was restructured. Your clear coat remains fully intact, 0 microns removed, 0 thickness lost. Every time you apply this treatment, you are restoring without consuming. The detailing industry applies their treatment and permanently reduces what you have left to work with. This treatment leaves you with exactly what you started with, just reorganized at the molecular level. That is the difference between a business model and a solution. Now let me show you exactly how to do it. 4 steps, 45 minutes. Everything you need is already in your home. Here is exactly what you need before you start. White distilled vinegar, not apple cider, not wine vinegar, not flavored vinegar of any kind. White distilled vinegar at 5% acidity, which is the standard concentration sold in every grocery store in the country. Cost, $1.50. Olive oil or standard vegetable oil, you need approximately 2 tablespoons total for an entire vehicle. Cost, 50 cents worth of whatever is already in your kitchen. 1 empty spray bottle, the kind used for cleaning solutions, available for $1 at any dollar store or already sitting under your sink. 2 clean microfiber cloths, not paper towels, not cotton rags, not old t-shirts. Microfiber specifically because the fiber structure is what makes step 4 work correctly. Total cost, $2 maximum. Do not substitute any of these materials. Specifically, do not use apple cider vinegar. The natural sugars present in apple cider vinegar will leave residue on your paint surface that attracts dirt and creates a film that is genuinely difficult to remove. White distilled vinegar only. This is the one instruction in this entire process that has no flexibility. Now mix your solution, 3 parts white distilled vinegar to 1 part oil. For a standard spray bottle, that means 3/4 vinegar and 1/4 oil. Seal the bottle and shake it for 30 seconds. The mixture will separate over time. That is normal and expected. Shake it again before each panel. The 3:1 ratio is not approximate. Too much oil creates a greasy film that prevents the acetic acid from reaching the polymer surface. Too little oil removes the triglyceride component that fills the nanoscale fractures after the acid does its work. 3:1. Exactly. Step 1. Wash your car and dry it completely. Every panel you intend to treat must be completely dry before you apply anything. Residual water dilutes the acetic acid concentration and breaks the 3:1 ratio you just mixed. This step takes 15 minutes. Do not skip it to save time, because skipping it will cost you the result. Step 2. Working 1 panel at a time, hood, roof, trunk. Each door individually, shake your bottle and spray a light, even coat across the entire panel surface. You do not need it dripping. You need coverage. Take your first microfiber cloth and work the solution into the surface using small circular motions with moderate pressure. Not aggressive pressure, moderate. You are not scrubbing. You are working the solution into contact with the polymer surface uniformly. Within 60 seconds of starting, you will see the panel begin to darken slightly and the surface texture will visibly change under the light. That is the oxide layer dissolving. That is the process working. Each panel takes 3 to 4 minutes. Step 3. Stop. Put the cloth down. Do not wipe. Do not buff. Do not touch the panel for 8 full minutes. This is the step that every detailing professional will tell you is wrong. This is the step that looks like you made a mistake. The solution will sit on the surface and the panel will look uneven and streaky, and you will have a powerful instinct to wipe it off immediately. Resist that instinct completely. Those 8 minutes are when the actual restoration happens. The acetic acid is actively breaking down residual oxide bonds across the entire surface simultaneously. The triglycerides from the oil are migrating into the nanoscale fractures in your clear coat and beginning to form new surface bonds. This is a chemical process, not a mechanical one. It requires time and 0 interference. Wiping early terminates the molecular reorganization before it completes. 8 minutes is not approximate. Set a timer. Step 4. Take your second microfiber cloth, the dry, unused one, and wipe the panel using straight, overlapping lines from one edge to the other. Not circles, straight lines. Circular motions at this stage create microscopic swirl marks that scatter light and partially undo the reflectivity you just restored. Straight lines do not. Wipe with consistent, moderate pressure until the panel is completely clear. Then look at it under direct sunlight. If you executed these 4 steps correctly, you are looking at a panel that reflects a clear, undistorted image of everything in front of it. Not improved, not partially restored, restored. That result cost you $2.45. The detailing shop charges $400 for the same outcome, achieved through a method that permanently removes material from your car every single time they touch it. You just did it better, for free. And your clear coat is completely intact. Now let's talk about exactly how much money you just saved and how much you would have lost if you hadn't watched this video. Let's put real numbers on what just happened. The average American car owner visits a detailing shop 3 times per year. The average spend per visit for paint correction and protection services is $200. That is $600 per year, per car. Every year you own the vehicle. The average American keeps a car for 8 years. That is $4,800 over the ownership period of a single vehicle for a problem that costs $2 to solve and 45 minutes to execute twice a year. Your total cost over 8 years using this method, 32. The difference between those two numbers is 4,168. That is not a rounding error. That is not a marginal saving. That is $4,168 that the detailing industry has built its entire business model around, extracting from you quietly, systematically, and with your complete cooperation because you did not have the information you have right now. Let's make that number real. 4,168 is a year of college tuition at a state university. It is a return flight to Europe for 2 people with hotels included. It is 4 months of mortgage payments for the median American homeowner. It is the down payment on your next vehicle. That money was never theirs. It was always yours. They simply positioned themselves between you and the information that would have kept it in your pocket. And understand this clearly, that $4,168 figure assumes you only own 1 car. The average American household owns 2 vehicles, double every number you just heard, 9,536, nearly $10,000 over 1 ownership cycle, extracted through a service that is now entirely optional for you. You did not save $4,168 today. You reclaimed it. Because it was never supposed to leave your hands in the first place. You now know something that $47 billion is actively working to keep you from knowing. Not theoretically, not conspiratorially, practically, financially, deliberately. A $2 solution, 4 steps, 45 minutes, 0 microns of clear coat removed, results that last 18 months, validated by 3,000 years of human application, confirmed by NASA materials research, classified safe by the EPA, and proven at the molecular level by peer-reviewed university science, versus $400 per visit, 3 visits per year, a method that permanently destroys your clear coat with every application, and an industry worth $47 billion built entirely on your not knowing the difference. That is not incompetence. That is architecture. Now here's what you do with this information. Share this video, not for this channel, not for the view count. Share it because every single person who watches it is 1 fewer person walking into a detailing shop and handing over $400 for something they can do themselves for $2. Every share is a direct financial hit to a system that has been feeding on uninformed consumers for 4 decades. They cannot bury the internet, they cannot uninform you, and they cannot stop what happens when people who know the truth decide to share it. Your car was never dead, it was just waiting for the right $2.